Hey, yo, another shout out to the Void. This time we're going to be going over Doctor Sleep. Now, I've been a big fan of The Shining for many years, ever since I first saw it, I think back in middle school it would have been. But it's one of those movies that generally sticks with you. Now, I don't know if that could be said for most of Kubrick's movies, but The Shining is one of those ones in particular. Now, I've never found The Shining to be a particularly frightening movie, but it is a hypnotic movie. It's always been an enjoyable watch, and it's one of those ones that's easy to put on and just rewatch. And recapturing that style is something that is going to be near impossible, so I don't know what I was expecting going into Doctor Sleep, but what I got was definitely an experience. It's directed by Michael Flanagan, who, from everything I've seen, can really do no wrong. Everything I've seen of his has just been stand out, from The Haunting of Hill House and from what I've seen so far of The Haunting of Bly Manor, Absentia, Oculus, and Hush. I've been definitely impressed with his filmography, and this is no exception. It's definitely a standout movie, though it definitely has his feel about him, particularly in the haunted hotel scenes. Now, this one kind of blends elements of the and then of the book to try to make Kubrick's changes make more sense into the book world that Stephen King set up, and I think he does a very good job at that. Now, any complaint I had about Midsommar's runtime, I'm going to have to apologize for, because for this one, I watched the director's cut of Doctor Sleep. The regular runtime of it is about 2.5 hours. The director's cut is a full 3 hours long. And honestly, I don't know what they would have cut, because it did not feel like 3 hours. I was never bored and was in fact fascinated through most of this movie. Now, much like The Shining, I wouldn't consider it a very frightening movie, though there are definitely intense scenes of it. But again, it has that same hypnotic fascination about it, and I do highly recommend it. This one follows up with then Danny Torrance, or Dan as he goes by now, many years after the events of The Shining. He's now a grown man and seems to be a bit of a drifter bum. And it's about him pulling his life back together and finally coming to grips with the ghosts that are still reaching out to him, as well as just getting his life back together and avoiding the alcoholism that consumed his father's life. Meanwhile, then a young girl is coming into the Shining herself as she begins to experience powers that are growing, and while at the same time a group of individuals is seeming to begin preying on people who have the shine as they try to drink their steam, as they refer to it, the essence of their screams and fear as they are, well, dying. A group that they call themselves the True Knot, and others refer to them occasionally as the Empty Devils. Then led by Rebecca Ferguson, who plays Rose the Hat. And the villains are kind of stand out in this movie. They are fascinating to watch, with Rose the Hat being a particularly amazing character in this. Whew, this it's really hard to go into a lot of this movie with how much happens. At the same time, it's keeps the same kind of slow burn pace that the original one did, but it definitely balances itself better than Midsummer did. There's always something happening, and it's something to really keep your attention. The imagery of this is impressive for another reason. They went out of their way to recreate the the look of the Overlook Hotel, as well as anything referencing the past characters. So we have lookalikes for both Jack Nicholson's Jack Torrance and Shelley Duvall's character as well. They, it's You have to double take to really catch the differences there. They are uncannily similar, and a lot of the kind of effect work there is it looks very similar to what Kubrick had come up with, though it's clear some of it's done a little bit more CG related in terms of like the classic elevator of blood scene, and the twins just don't seem to be quite as creepy for the two little girls. But the bathtub ghost is in full effect in this movie. I don't know if I have much else to add on this one. It's... I can always say this regularly, but this is now overtaken as kind of the best movie I've seen so far through this month, and this one's going to be a much harder one to top. It was very well put together, and I can't believe I had waited as long as I did to see it. I suppose the stigma of trying to do a follow-up to The Shining, even if it was based on another novel of King's, it's a tough act to follow, but this one, I think, does a very good job of it. It doesn't try to mirror Kubrick's style, and definitely does its own thing, and I think it's stronger for that. Hi there. Has to always be on camera now. She's becoming a little diva. Can't get away. Well, I think that's all for this one, so we are out, and we'll see you next time.